In this video, I'm going to show you a new technique to make a roof and also how to intersect roofs. And as an example of that, we'll also do a small dormer. So let's get started here. I've got a 16 by 24 simple gable structure. And what I want to do is effectively put an addition to it, make another roof with the same ridge, the same roof pitch, and be able to intersect the two. So first thing I'm going to do is to double click on my slab and get the center, and then I'm going to come out 4 feet in each direction from the center, and I'll put a short vertical line here so that we can pull the slab out for our addition. And I'll come out, say, 10 feet. It looks quite a bit narrower than over there, so I'm going to add a couple feet to each side, pulling this 2 feet in each direction. Okay. So now we've got the basic outline of the bottom of our house. I'm going to triple click and make this a group, which I should have done before. And I'll hide that. And now we're going to pull our walls out. So I'm going to double click on our walls, and I'm going to click on this line, make a copy of it, move it along the axis, and snap it to the slab. Same thing here. Make a copy of this line, snap it to the slab, and now I should be able to push a hole in here. Didn't go away, so I'm going to erase that top line and bottom line. Okay, so now we want to draw walls around this addition, essentially. So when I push pull here, I'm going to tap the control key or the option key on the Mac and then come out 6 inches. That gives me a line here where I can pull in this direction. And then I'll do the same thing, tap the control key, push back 6 inches. Again, that's giving me a line where I can move out here. Same thing here, tap the control key, type in 6. So this is a really quick way to make walls. And I'll come here. The problem with it is you generally end up with a lot of cleanup work. So I've got a lot of extra lines, and you can see that sometimes your faces reverse on you. So I'm going to reverse that face and erase these lines. That face reversed, so I will unreverse it. So very quickly, and we got some inside lines here too. So there is our addition, the walls anyway. I'll close that and unhide the roof. So now we want to make a roof, and we want to intersect it with this existing roof. So I believe that this is a 8, well, I'm not sure. I think I did a 10-12. But let's check. Let's get the protractor, and I'm going to put it right in the corner of the roof, and click the first time, I'm clicking the second time at horizontal, and I'll come up here. I get an angle of 39.8, but I'll type in 10:12, and my line stays in the same spot, so I know it's 10:12. Okay, G to erase all my guides. And now this new technique, what we're going to do is we're going to come into where the inner wall is. So I'm going to make a guideline 6 inches in. And I'm going to make another guideline 6 inches in. And now I will get my protractor tool, click on the edge, click here a second time, come up, come on, type in our roof pitch, which is 10:12. Same thing on this side, and come up 10:12. And now I'm going to draw a couple of lines here and here. And so we have 2 lines. Now I'm going to get the offset tool. Well, we've got to select these 2 lines first. So I'm going to click, shift click. Now I can select the offset tool. And I'm just pushing away, and I'm going to type in 8 and press enter. So I've got an 8-inch thick roof. I'll grab my line tool, and I'm just trying to fill in this profile. And now that filled in. I'll get rid of my guides and get my push-pull tool, and I'm going to push this all the way back in here. Okay. So I've got a little bit of a different roof than I did over here, but actually that's nice because this is kind of ugly with the continuous ridge. So not a problem. I'm going to pull this down too far. I'm going to pull this down too far. So we started with our profile. We've just pushed it back into the building, and we pulled it down on the eaves side too far. I'm going to triple click and group it. Then I want to get a plumb cut on this roof. So I'm going to get my tape measure tool, come out 12 inches, and then draw a vertical line. And oops. Now see, that vertical line is not in my group. That's why it's so bold and black. So I'm going to undo, open up my group, and now you can see that line is not bold and black. Okay, so I will come out 12 inches here with my tape measure tool, grab the line tool, and get my plumb cut here. So now I want to hide the rest of the model. So I press that hotkey, and I can push this all the way to the back. And on this side, I can double click to just re-execute that last push-pull. Okay, so I close the group, everything comes back into view. So now with this new technique where we draw a roof profile before we fill in this gable end wall, we've got to now do the gable end wall. So let's double click. Now I'm in hide rest of model mode, so I want to get out of that. So I'll press Control H to get out of it. And I'll get my line tool and click here and here and here. Now I want to see the inside. So the easiest way here is to go back into hide rest of model. Now I can easily navigate around here, push this back, and now erase the horizontal line here and here. And if I do my hotkey to hide rest of model again, I can see everything looks good. I'll close the group. Okay, so that was the technique, the new technique to do a roof profile. And we just pushed it inside the house. But if we look inside the house right now, I'm going to hide this floor. We can see that we've got that outer roof coming in. And it actually comes in so far it intersects this part of the roof too. So I'm going to double click on that roof and push it back so that it's aligned with the ridge. So it's still coming into the house too far. You can see it there. But I didn't hit this side of the roof as well. Okay. So get rid of that. So we have, let's go up to Entity Info. We have a solid group. That's the main roof. We have another solid group. That's the gable that we made on our addition. And we'd like to intersect the two. One of the reasons is we want to see a crisp line here where it intersects. But really, more importantly, inside the house, say we want a vaulted ceiling, we don't want all this extra geometry here. And we certainly don't want to have to try to manually erase this, which I've done, and it's a nightmare. And the same thing here with the eaves. We've got some extra material here we'd like to get rid of. So let's do it. So the way to do that is to use the solid tools. If you don't have the solid tools displayed on your toolbar on the Mac or the PC, let's just use this technique where you right click on the toolbars and you go down to Solid Tools. So I have mine displayed, and the one I'm going to use is this last one called Split. So if I click on that, you can see I'm getting a 1 next to my pointer here, so I'll click on the first roof and then click on the second roof, and then I'm going to hit the space bar to get out of that. So now it looked like it did something. I've got a nice crisp line where the roofs intersect. So let me double click on this roof, hide rest of model, and you'll see that it cut through the roof nicely, and this is some extra material that I want to get rid of. So let's see, if I triple click on it, I can't select it all, unfortunately, because it's touching right here. So I'm going to use my right to left selection and just start selecting a bunch of it and deleting it. But I want to be careful that I don't touch the original roof. So now that I got most of it, I'm going to hit my E for erase tool and then just start clicking or swiping through these lines to individually erase them. And if I go too far, I'll just undo. But that looks good. That is a nice solid roof component. I'll close that group, and let's do the same. We'll click on this roof, and you'll see that I've got a cut piece here. I probably can't triple click on it either, because I end up selecting the entire roof because it's touching here. So I'm not going to, oops, I closed the group, so I'm going to double click again. And the reason I can see all this is because I used my hide rest of model hotkey. So I will go with my erase tool and just start erasing some of these lines that are extra. There's an extra one here, and these here, and there you go. So let's show the rest of model, and let's take a look from below, and it looks pretty clean. So now we're going to make a dormer, and with its intersecting roof, and intersect that with the existing roof. So I think what I'll do first is I'll explode this group and then hide the roof and do some layout on the dormer. So here's the center of the wall. We'll come over, say 4 feet in each direction. And we're actually going to pull this center wall up. So I'm going to put a little line across so that we can pull this up. And it looks like I forgot to open up the model. So let's open that up and redraw these lines. And then push-pull this up. So I'm going to go up to the ridge. I know that's too far. Okay, so I'm going to unhide the roof. And next, we're going to define the pitch of the dormer. So I guess we need to establish the height here. So let's double click on that wall again, hide rest of model, and let's come down. Let's call it 2 feet from the ridge. Okay. So now let's go ahead and define a roof. So we'll kind of do it in reverse here. We'll start in the middle with the protractor tool and come down to the edge. And let's try a 412 pitch. Let's go to 612. Okay. And do the same over on this side. 6:12. Okay. So we don't have anything open, so we're going to draw these lines on top of our dormer wall, and we'll get our offset tool. First, let's highlight these 2 lines without highlighting anything else. Okay, there we go. And I'll erase our guidelines. And now I'm going to use the offset tool and offset 8 inches. And connect these lines together to fill in that. And we can pull our dormer roof. I'll pull it back to the ridge. Okay. So that looks pretty good. Let's do our overhangs here. And now we can come out 12 inches on our eave side overhang. So guidelines out from each side. And let's triple click on this roof section, make it a group. Double click to open it up. And I'm using my hotkey to show rest of model. And then I'm going to do a line here and a line there. Those are the plumb cuts of my roof. I'll use the same hotkey again to hide rest of model. And now we can push that back all the way. And push that side of the dormer roof back all the way. Okay. So that all looks good. Let's go ahead and trim this wall down. So I'll toggle the hide rest of model so we can see it, so we can trace over our dormer roof section, and then I should be able to push this wall back and push, oops, I guess I didn't connect on that side. Let's try that again. Now we should be able to push this section back. Okay. And we've got to return our wall back into the building. So let's hide rest of model. And we can do that. Let's toggle back to see what's going on. So we want to bring it back flush to this wall. So I'm going to move a copy of this line over 6 inches. I'll move a copy of this line over, oops, didn't make a copy there. Now there's a copy, 6 inches. And I'm going to fill in this space so that we can push pull it. And the same here. Okay, so now we should be able to pull this wall back in. We don't know how far, so we'll just push it back. Let's go reference the ridge. That should be more than enough. And I'm going to get rid of this line here and this line here. Okay, so now we've got our dormer defined. We've got our eave side overhangs done. And we just need to intersect everything together. So I think the first thing I'll do is intersect the two roofs. Let's see how that goes. So we're going to use split. And I hover over the first roof and click, hover over the second roof and click. Now, back with the select tool, let's double click on the first roof, the big one, hide rest of model. That looks good. We have a slit cut through it. Nothing to clean up. Now let's look at the dormer roof. And this one's going to be really easy to clean up. We can triple click on that section and delete it. Toggle the rest of the model back on. That looks good. Now, the next cut we have to do is this roof and the dormer wall. So we'll go back up to our split and we will pick the main roof and the dormer wall. Now let's see what we get. So we will double click on the big roof, hide rest of model, and we now have a section here that we can triple click on and delete. That looks good. And let's double click on our wall. And we have a section cut out there for the roof. And so I guess we can push, well, let's see, how are we going to get rid of that? We've got a line there. Can we triple click? No. Oops. So back in our walls again. I'm going to select, got to be careful here because we're going to end up selecting other parts of our wall. So this is a little tricky. So I'm going to use the eraser tool and then just erase individual lines or swipe through a few. You can see I just got the line down on the base of the wall. So you got to be careful and undo if you go too far. So I'm going to swipe through these lines, these two, and those four, and then a few more right here, and that's looking pretty good. All right, so if we hide our floor, let's go up inside and take a look. And it's a pretty clean looking roof. And from the outside it looks good. So last detail to do, we will double click on this dormer piece, pull that out 12 inches, and we have our intersected roof.